Hello everyone, Carter Baum here alongside the voice of the Barons, Jim Byers. And Jim, here we stand on April 23rd, the morning of April 23rd, and the Barons are on the ice behind us for morning skate. It's playoff season as the Barons get ready to take on the Texas Stars starting tonight.
Great accomplishment for the Barons to make this. They were in 14th place out of 15 teams in the Western Conference on January 30th when their great run began. They had the 5th best record the Barons did in the AHL from January 30th to the end of the season. It was great for the Barons to get here. They clinched on the next to last night of the season like they've done 3 of their 4 years in the AHL. Now they have to get to work against a Texas club that they did beat 4 out of 12 times this year and lost twice in overtime too, so they were competitive against the league's top team. And they did face them in a best of 7 series last year in the second round and knocked them off. So there's some precedent for them playing well against the Stars, and we'll see how things match up tonight.
Both of these teams come into this series with a little bit of unique rosters. For the Barons, you have Tyler Pitlick, who's likely out for the series. Mark Arcabella, who's out for the first game, probably here tonight, looking to get him maybe back on Saturday. Banged up a little bit on the defensive side as well. And then you look at the Texas Stars. They have several guys on call-up with the Dallas Stars who are in the NHL playoffs right now. And then they also have some guys banged up on their roster as well. Yeah,
depth is going to be an issue here. And I think Barons fans need to be big Dallas Stars fans right now because they have Colton Sevier, one of the league's leading goal scorers this year, and likely the league's leading goal scorer heading up and called up to Dallas. Chris Mueller and Patrick Nemeth as well, 3 key players. We saw last year when the Barons played Grand Rapids in the conference final what can happen when your opponent's parent club gets eliminated from the playoffs. Detroit last year sent Grand Rapids a couple of very key players, and it turned that series around. In this case, the Barons need Dallas to keep going against Anaheim in that first round. Travis Morin is a guy the Barons are going to face here. He's the league's MVP this year and a fine player, but when he has Colton Sevier with him, he's even more dangerous, and the Barons will try to neutralize Morin like they did in last year's second round of the playoffs when he only had a couple of assists. But there's no question on both sides you're going to see some guys play, especially in these first couple of games, that you might not see if everybody was here and everybody was healthy.
Well, another interesting note, looking at the Texas Stars roster, they have 2 goalies who are statistically, at least in the regular season this year, have been very strong. But coming into tonight, we don't know which one's going to start and how they're going to perform in the series.
Yeah, their coach, Willie Desjardins, has been close to the vest on who he's going to start. He's been alternating them mainly down the stretch. Jack Campbell had an unbelievable year, interrupted by injuries, but he's back healthy now. And Christopher Nilstorp's a guy that has some experience. He's 30 years of age now, in his second year in North America. Nilstorp played for them in the playoffs last year while Campbell backed them up, and they did get 2 rounds into the playoffs last year. Nilstorp's performance against the Barons probably left something to be desired if you're viewing it from Texas's standpoint. Campbell hasn't played in a pro playoff game, so they're going to be under a bit of a microscope as to who they play and how they perform, simply because they had those great regular season stats, and this was a very good team both offensively and defensively all year. But all of a sudden now it comes down to a best of 5 series, and you really have to execute when it's a short series to advance.
Well, the Barons come into this series the last place team in the Western Conference to qualify for the playoffs. They barely got in there on Friday night, and really an interesting night all across the league. They come in, they face this top-ranked Stars team like we've talked about. What are some of the keys they have to do in this series if they want to come in here and upset the top-ranked team?
Well, score first is one. Texas scored the first goal in 51 of their 76 games this year, so only 25 times did Texas not get on the board first. They're a totally different team when they can play with the lead. They're a 500 club when they allow the first goal this year, and the Barons, oddly enough, scored the first goal in 8 of the 12 games head-to-head against the Texas Stars this year. Now, when Texas scored first, they won all 4 games against the Barons. When the Barons scored first, they had 4 wins, a couple of losses, and a couple of overtime defeats. So when the Barons did well against Texas, it was when they got out to an early lead. Didn't always hold those leads. That's going to be one of the big keys. Another, I think, is nobody really likes to get hit or pressured, and I think the Barons are going to have to pressure Texas, get in hard on the forecheck. Really, the Barons have nothing to lose here. They're an 8 seed taking on a 1 seed. They've had a great comeback, and they have a chance to make another long playoff run, but I don't think they're going to do it if they just trade chances with Texas and go up and down the ice. Has to be a lot of pressure. Play within the rules because Texas has the best power play in the league, and the Barons not far behind. Play within the rules, but pressure them, hit them, pressure their D at every opportunity, and I think the Barons will have the best chance to capitalize on some mistakes.
Well, Game 1 starts here tonight at the Cox Convention Center at 7 o'clock. Jim, thank you for joining me, as always, on the Pregame Report.
No problem. Thanks.
Well, for Jim Byers, I'm Carter Baum, Barons TV.